We had a little computer delay. Welcome to the Piqua City Commission regular meeting scheduled for Tuesday. This is April 21. It's 5 o'clock and we're ready to start. I will call the meeting to order and we'll start by standing to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Liberty and justice for all. We're sorry for the long delay. We had a lot of things to discuss, and I think we accomplished most of them. We're now getting ready to adjourn from executive session. We need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn from executive session.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn from executive session. To take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons,
Aye.
Commissioner Walker,
Aye.
Mayor Vetter,
Aye.
Commissioner Wade,
Aye.
Commissioner DeBras.
Aye.
Next, we're going to have a motion, hopefully, to approve the business agenda for the rules of conduct. I can't hear you. No, that comes up next, doesn't it? Do we have to amend it to do that?
The presentation order, I'm not sure, do we have to amend it?
If you'd like to make that motion.
Yeah, in an abundance of caution here, Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to amend the business agenda purely for reordering the presentations and move Mr. O'Brien to last, so our guests who have been here waiting for us can go first.
So the first order is there support for the motion to change the order of activity for the business agenda?
A second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we've done that. And now let's go back and approve the business agenda as it is, as it's amended. I need a motion to approve the business agenda as amended.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the business agenda as amended.
Second.
Moved and seconded that the business agenda be approved as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion is approved. Now we're going to jump into presentations, and we have a housing initiative
Yes.
PowerPoint? Yeah,
Maybe. Is this good?
there you
Is
go.
this okay? All right. Well, first and foremost, let me make sure this is working, I guess. Is that working?
It's not working?
All right. I think it's because you have a PDF. There we go. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. All right. First and foremost, good evening. My name is Race Robinson, and I'm the president of the Paul G. Duke Foundation, based here in Miami County. I'm here to discuss an initiative that's critical to the future of Piqua and Miami County, and that's workforce affordable housing. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk through a really high overview of community needs previously identified, the trend shaping our housing landscape, and the strategic path forward that I'm most excited about, where we believe we can make a real difference for working families in our region, specifically right here in Piqua, Ohio. Here's our roadmap again for the presentation. 5 key topics. Again, I'm going to cruise through the first 3 and spend the majority of the time on number 4. And all of you should have a copy of this in the docket for tonight as well for future reference. So let's begin real quick with what we heard directly from the community over the last 6 years. This section covers survey findings, investment priorities, and the connection between housing and workforce stability. Most of these surveys come from the city down south from 2020 that did a big survey with the Troy Foundation. A 2023 survey that was done by Miami County Momentum, the Community and Workforce Assessment, which all of you probably have seen or should have seen at some point in time, and then the core statistics and demographics. Community surveys and stakeholder input all point to the same conclusion, that affordable housing is the foundational challenge holding back Miami County workforce today. The workforce is stretched thin, 35% of workers are hourly and economically insecure, 60% of residents commute out of the county for work, and families with young children participate in the labor force at rates below the state average. Affordability gap is severe. 26% of households are ALICE, working but unable to cover basic living costs, and in Piqua specifically, nearly half of all households fall into ALICE or below the poverty level. The housing stock itself is part of the problem, and even building new housing is getting harder with material, labor costs, land costs, and all those things that are climbing with our economic challenges today. I'm not going to bore you with the next couple slides. Again, you have all this documentation, so let's get to the purpose for being here and what I'm most excited about today. Let me get to 4. Here you go. So this is an executive summary. So with the Duke Foundation, we've taken a look at these assessments and we said, hey, where can we be most impactful with the Miami County community? There's a lot of groups that are focused on childcare, drug addiction, transportation, and those other 3 key initiatives. Where we feel we can be most impactful here is the Workforce Affordable Housing Initiative. So this is an executive summary that calls out what we are looking to achieve, and it's really about bringing together a lot of different entities and stakeholders to make local builders, or not make them, but ask local builders and ask all these different entities to do something different and be impactful in our community and not just talk about it, but walk together and do something, right? Even when we, let's see. Again, this is our mission and vision to create quality, attainable housing opportunities for hardworking men and women in our community by leveraging those collaborative partnerships, thoughtful designs, and strategic resources to build homes that strengthen neighborhoods and enable families to achieve the dream of home ownership. And I'm standing up here today with a good friend right behind me that will also participate in a few minutes from Habitat Humanity. For humanity, and that should be a good example of what strategic partnership looks like between 2 philanthropic organizations. So thank you for joining me, Scott. All right, this slide lays out our primary goals, and I'll spend a little bit of time here. So these are our goals and objectives for our initiative, starting with the housing production. We're targeting approximately 16 single-family homes with a full build-out within 4 years. The price points will range between $200,000 and $220,000, excluding land acquisition costs. The reason that it's going to exclude land acquisition costs is because we, the Duke Foundation, plan to purchase this property that we will cover today on our own cost and contribute that to the project overall. That price range is intentional. It's designed to be attainable for working families earning at or near the area median income, which is exactly the population that's currently being squeezed out of the housing market here. Neighborhood integration is equally important. We're not building a housing project, we're building a neighborhood. The homes will complement the existing character of the surrounding area. We actually plan to maintain or even reduce density from the original plotting of this particular parcel, and we're prioritizing walkability and social connectivity in this project. The goal is that when these homes are built, they feel like they've always belonged here, and that's huge. The partnership model is really what sets this initiative apart. This is a public-private nonprofit collaboration. The Duke Foundation, Miami County Land Bank, Habitat for Humanity, the City of Piqua, and local builders all working together as previously stated. We're intentionally designing this as replicable framework so when it succeeds here, other communities across the county and region can follow the same playbook that we're outlining tonight. We're also leveraging diverse funding sources and expertise to make economics work without relying on any single individual or organization, which is also huge. The community impact is the why behind everything. We want to enable families to transition from renting to home ownership, which is one of the most powerful vehicles for building generational wealth. Over time, this also reduces the burden on social services. When families are stably housed, they need less emergency assistance, fewer interventions, and they contribute more to the local economy. And finally, let me walk through our measurable objectives because accountability matters. We're targeting site acquisition and replicable approval by Q2 of this year, and we plan to break ground on the first homes in September, potentially. So these are our key objectives. And now we go to the site overview. So the specifics of this site itself, we're looking at the Nicklin Avenue location, a full city block made up of approximately 18 original platted parcels from back in the 30s and 40s or 40s and 50s. This isn't a greenfield site. It was previously developed as a school site, which was demolished around 2016, and the environmental remediation has already been completed as OSFC standards, so the site is clean and ready to build on today, which is great. Utilities are available around the perimeter, and we'll need to reestablish some of those. One thing I want to highlight is that we plan to restore the historic alley pattern, which is consistent and will provide rear load vehicle access. That's important to the design features that we'll talk about in a moment as well, and surrounding blocks. The proposed configuration calls for 16 family home sites, corner lots that are widened to meet current code requirements, and will incorporate green space and stormwater management areas where needed. Importantly, the overall density will be equal or less than the original platting from the 40s or 50s, so this fits naturally into the existing neighborhood settings. This is the site today that you see here on the screen. And here is our proposed site of the future. Does anybody have a question about where this particular piece of property is located by chance? We're good? Okay. All right, so our design principles are built around core ideas. These homes should feel like they've always belonged in this neighborhood. That means front porches on every home, roof slopes and facade details that are consistent with the surrounding houses, and varied facades so the development doesn't look cookie cutter. From a site design perspective, we're using rear loading parking via the restored alley, which means no driveways are interrupting the sidewalks. Front yards will be oriented towards the street to encourage social interaction, and setbacks will be consistent with neighboring properties. The general parameters call for single-family detached homes, primarily single-story with some two-story options of varieties. We're targeting 3 to 4 bedrooms in the 1,300 to 1,500 square foot range, and you'll see on the slide how Habitat for Humanity standards and for-profit builders standards compare. They're closely aligned on square footage and bedroom counts, with Habitat offering 0% interest mortgages for qualifying families and some pretty awesome incentives through other partnership programs that we're seeking as well. We're also considering accessibility, sustainability features, zero entry universal design options, energy efficient construction, aging in place features, and low maintenance materials. These aren't just nice to haves, they add long-term value for homeowners and the community overall. Want to talk a little bit about the Habitat standards?
Good evening, Council. My name is Scott Barr. I'm the Executive Director at Habitat. I've been in the role for 2.5 years, and during that time, we've seen explosive growth, specifically building 3 homes in Piqua in 18 months. That was over a $750,000 investment into that community, including land purchase, the demolition of a white home, reparceling, replotting the property from 4 parcels to 3, and building 3 homes. Those 3 homes, as we will show on 26, we'll give you some different examples for those of you that haven't had a chance to attend one of our dedications. So, 3-bedroom home for us is traditionally around 1,300 square feet. It includes 2 full baths. We do build with garages. These examples would be rear garages. You can certainly see the professional landscaping that we put on our homes, including leveraging not only Upper Valley Career Center students as well as a professional landscaping company working side by side to not only design but install our landscaping. We use different features, whether it be faux stone, siding, we put cedar on our homes, but most importantly, where we've changed in the past 2.5 years is we're using as many local products made right here in Western Ohio as possible. We have Clopay garage doors on every one of our homes. We use Francis Schultze doors, both externally and internally, out of Russia. Cornerstone brand, which owns Plygem for our siding, and that's in Sydney. We use Plygem windows, and where we make a difference is because of our partnerships, not only can we offer a 0% interest loan as a financial institution, but we can build at a lower rate than the mortgage. And so the affordability we bring to the table is these folks are taking on mortgages traditionally with 15 to 20% equity. So if I'm building around 220 in cost, 220 in value on an appraisal, which our last 2 appraised at 210 and 250. The first one that we built in the end of 24 appraised at 210, and if you look at the auditor's office today, it's already appreciated to 240. We're putting mortgages based on our cost, and so we can offer mortgages significantly below the 220, the 210, making that monthly payment more affordable for the families that are going to go ahead and live in there. Again, I want to share on our designs here. If we look at 25 real quick and go back one, we have different examples that we'll use. We can move the doors around. We do, for this particular project, all of the lots would have rear garages. We can put them on the left or the right or in the center as we set those up into the home. A 4-bedroom home is approximately 1,450 square feet, still would be 2 baths. And so we can build a really good quality home with different design and aesthetic features in the front that would be similar to the neighborhood. And obviously we have enough design choices with our Plygem siding colors, having access to the Clopay catalog for the different style of garage doors that we'll do, that none of them would look identical, that we'd be able to go ahead and break up home to home, sides of where the doors would be, porches versus front stoops, and materials, and really be able to add the value in a project like this, like we did in the neighborhood on Manure and Cottage with that investment over there, raising the overall property values in that area and having some good homes. Most of our homes are open concept, so you will have a kitchen and a family room be wide open. We have a national relationship with Whirlpool. They're getting new Whirlpool appliances, and we can bring our partners at Habitat to the table on a project like this that's broader than our leadership group with this project. Any questions about our investment in the existing neighborhood?
I
All
have
right.
one. I did not see where the Wilder Study Group and the North Park Neighborhood Association were included in your list of participants. Have you reached out to them?
That's a great question, and that's part of this presentation, is talking about being actively engaged within the community. So something has to start on paper, right? Something has to build from the ground up and a little bit of a swell. We're here tonight to start that process. You'll see later on in this presentation and follow up in some of the documentation as well, where we're outlining the importance and the appropriateness of that community engagement for all of those surrounding blocks of this actual parcel. I think that answers your question, correct?
I think it does.
Yeah, so we'll have a little bit of a subcommittee upon approval here tonight, and just kind of some head nods or whatever, we'll feel more comfortable going and knocking on those doors and participating in those to make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Need some help with the contacts, we can supply those.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Just one final thing I'd like to add is, we look at the 16 parcels. Habitat has committed to develop half of those, and to try to do that within 4 years. That leaves the other half potentially as the for-profit developers, and if we need to either take on more or less based on the scope of the project, are able to do so. But we're in a position, both in capital and in our team, to go ahead and look at a 4-year development between 6 to 8 houses.
So building on the success of Habitat for Humanity here over the next few minutes, I just wanted to share some examples that exist today as outlined by Housing Ohio. There's a lot of different projects, standardized build plans and templates that are already pre-approved in certain communities that represent the type of setup and quality that we're looking for here for this particular project, so that it fits appropriately within this neighborhood at the Nicklin Avenue site. So just wanted to provide a couple other examples there. So if I progress here a little bit to the target market and pricing, I just again want to hit on like the who we're building for component. This project is designed for working individuals and families, specifically people who are currently paying $1,200 or more per month in rent and could afford a mortgage payment instead. We're talking about the entry-level professionals, individuals earning $18 to $25 plus an hour, first-time home buyers, and those who meet Habitat for Humanity income guidelines typically, right? Our target sales price, again, is $200,000 to $220,000, and that price point is below the current market for new construction, competitive with or below current rental costs when converted to a mortgage as well. So we think that's achievable through land donation and partnerships, which again, the Duke Foundation would be purchasing and contributing those parcel costs to the project, reducing that. But the key word here is attainable. These are homes that our working families can actually afford. And how do we get to that price point? Several cost reductions and strategies exist. We're exploring potential utility hookup subsidies from the city. Habitat homes benefit from volunteer labor. We're using efficient design and construction methods, and potential modular construction options, among other things. So just to give you a little bit of flavor of who we're trying to serve, how we're getting to that price point, and how we're going about doing that. I don't need to belabor too much of this page here, but I wanted to call out the players at the table that we would bring and ask to be a part of this. And we've already got some of that going between ourselves, trying to develop like who would want to be engaged in this. Obviously, our foundation, the Miami County Land Bank, has already said that they would be willing to be the conduit of connectivity with the transitioning of the parcels and the property. So basically, we would give the money to the Miami County Land Bank. The Miami County Land Bank would then purchase said property from the city of Piqua and then transact all those individual parcels as time permits, or whenever a house is ready to go with Habitat or any of the other approved builders. So they're on the list. City of Piqua is on there for obvious reasons. For-profit builders, there's a huge component of this where we go to the Bart Denlingers of the world, or Sean Rink, or some of these other folks that are around this local community to say, hey, what's your capacity to be actively engaged in a philanthropic measure like this? Do you want to be involved? Because this is going to be freaking awesome for the community. And And I think most of those people would say, to some degree, yes, I would want to be actively engaged in this. And last but not least, Choice One Engineering. They're on the list. I've already asked them to do a lot of research on the front end to see what's feasible and not feasible on this particular parcel. And thankfully, I don't think we've seen any roadblock or hiccups from that perspective yet. Any questions about the partnerships? Okay. And then again here, back to your question on the panel, from the community engagement strategy. Obviously, this isn't set in stone. We'll take whatever recommendations and support we can get from that perspective because, again, I'm not here to ruffle feathers. We're here to do the right thing and do something different and actually make something actionable when others are talking about different initiatives. We're here to put, our feet to the ground and do some good work. So I won't bore you too much with this, but really the key messaging is we want to go out to the community, we want to hear their concerns, we want to adapt our plans to meet some of those feedback metrics that we get, and then really find those champions to help us power through that. So a little bit of a timeline here, so let me walk through that. Q1 in January through March, we finalized what we believe would be the acquisition price and terms. We've secured the Duke Foundation Board's approval to do this should it move forward with our own funds. We've had some private meetings with some of these builders, AKA Habitat for Humanity and Bart Denlinger, to discuss what a commitment letter would look like potentially. We completed some level of initial visioning document and reviewed our updates for environmental studies. Q2, our goals is really for the site acquisition to be completed and the property transferred to the Miami County Land Bank. That's step number one. The replat application should get submitted in that timeline should we proceed. An informal neighborhood engagement would then begin. Design standards would be finalized and builder assessments would be confirmed during that time frame. So here we've got a little bit over 60 days to power through some of those things and get the ball moving from that perspective. For Q3, July through September, we're looking to replat approval through the Planning Commission and City Commission. Infrastructure work would then begin on utilities and the alley cut-ins. First building permits would potentially be issued, and we would like to hold a groundbreaking ceremony and construction to begin on the first homes in that development. And then by the end of the year, our goal with Habitat for Humanity being that initial builder would be that first home be completed, and we would submit some applications to Welcome Home Ohio grants and some of those things. And our target is a holiday dedication ceremony to celebrate those first completed homes. As we progress through 27 and beyond, obviously things change, dynamics happen, builders have different initiatives, Habitat gets bogged down with stuff or gets really excited to do more with this project, and this could really escalate quite quickly where we start hitting the gas and doing more homes per year. And you'll see there by the end of 2029, we would like to have the entire project completed. And I put 2030 because, well, we can't predict the future completely and you never know what's going to happen. So any questions about that potential timeline? No, okay. Really, accountability is at the heart of this initiative. I've got like 1 or 2 slides left, I believe. So, and this slide really outlines how we'll measure success both quantitatively and qualitatively. I won't go through all of these, but this is really putting, rubber to the road here and saying, how are we going to measure ourselves in the success of this project? And obviously, most of this is really important as we digest what's happening and take feedback and make adjustments as we move forward. So this is probably the most important slide because this is reality. And what's working and what's not working from that perspective. And then finally, let's talk about the partnerships and next steps. Partnerships matter. The people at the table matter. The willingness to work together matters. I'm confident that we've started to have some strategic discussions with the right players that care about Miami County in general, but specifically the city of Piqua and these neighborhoods, and we want to bring more of those people to the table. This is just a general outline of some of those needs that we have from the city of Piqua. Spitballing some of those items here on this page. Obviously, some of this could change. Some of it could get redlined. Some things could be added, what have you. But your partnership matters. Your approvals matter. Your advice matters, and we take that to the bank and want to make sure that we're representing both us all of the partners and specifically the city of Piqua appropriately in this endeavor. And then lastly, key takeaways, bringing this all together, the three themes. First, this requires a comprehensive approach. We need to integrate the community priorities, to your point, workforce trends and strategic planning and innovative funding into a cohesive strategy. Secondly, strategic planning matters, aligning the housing development with actual community needs, as that's critical to enhancing the housing stability and economic resilience. And then lastly, collaboration is the key to success. Stakeholders, housing authorities, trade schools, developers, all of us must work together to strengthen our economic resilience and workforce support, and no single approach or organization will get us there. It has to be all of us together. Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, can you tell me a little about the Duke Foundation? I'm not familiar with it at all, just a general.
Yeah, so the
overview.
Duke Foundation, we're a fourth-generation family foundation based out of the Miami County area, serving women and children and those in needs, specifically here, but also in the contiguous counties. We don't often branch out from Miami County. We care most about where our roots are and where my family's actually from. My great-grandfather founded the Paul G. Duke Foundation in 1983. My grandmother has run that until 2018 actually, when she stepped down from the board, Pat Robinson out of Troy, and I've been running as the president of this organization since 2019, alongside Linda Daniels, Bill McGraw, Will Harrelson, and several others that sit on the board with me today. So
I gather that's where we got Duke Park from?
that's exactly where you got Duke
There you
Park
go.
from.
See, now I know.
Yeah. Yep.
Just wasn't familiar with the foundation, so just some general overview, so.
Yeah, just looking to do good and leave an impact for generations to come in many different ways. And I think that, when I think about like my role in the Duke Foundation and where we're going for the future, who doesn't like to be Oprah and give little things here or there? But I don't think that's where you make the most impact. I think you make the most impact sticking your neck out and being different than other people. And I think this project represents what that means to me. So, any other questions?
I'm good. Everybody else good? Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you very much.
Yeah. Next, I think we have a presentation on riverfront townhomes.
Good evening, council. My name is Roby Sims. This is my brother, Crosby Sims. We just put together a quick slide for you guys to go through. Won't make it long. But we are a fourth generation home building company. Seventh generation Ohioans, seventh generation Daytonians. That left-hand photo there is our grandfather, great-grandfather. He was a developer and builder in the Miami Valley in the 1940s. Our grandfather purchased lots from him and, started his own company in 1957. Our dad bought that company in 1996 from his father, and then we did the same thing in 2024 from our father. We've worked in the summer throughout the college, worked for our dad. That really helped out, as to my dad with his grandfather, my grandfather with his dad. We are active members in our local Home Builders Association, also active in the Ohio Home Builders Association, and active roles there. We also are an energy smart builder. We have good energy efficiency for our townhomes that we build. That's just a little bit about us as a company. If you guys have any questions throughout the presentation, please just stop us. There we go. So just a couple of previous infill communities that our company has done. This one is Patterson Square. This was 18 townhomes on a little bit less than an acre in downtown Dayton. Rubicon Square, this is in the Fairgrounds neighborhood and near downtown Dayton. There's 14 townhomes, a little bit more craftsman style. It's not all brick. This was in Springfield, Ohio, downtown, right next to the park, the old Mill Run Park. 34 townhomes. Excellent, there you go. And all these projects are all sold and finished and completed. Ooh, that's the grand finale slide.
What did you do?
Go back a couple more. One more.
One more?
I think that's where we were.
Yeah, right here. Yep. I think this is working now, actually.
Oh, okay.
Nope. it's not. Patterson Place, this was 31 townhomes over 1 acre. You can see that left-hand photo. These townhome communities really create a sense of community. You have empty nesters in your community buying these townhomes. You have first-time home buyers buying these townhomes. There's a great mix of living after work. Some people may be retired. They have their guitars still. They want to jam out in the garage. So it's kind of a neat kind of community that we've kind of been setting. The top right photo, that's just an interior design of a one-bedroom open truss ceiling that we did there. You see all the different elevations that we've done throughout too. Next slide. This is just an overview, drone shot of Patterson Place, the 31 townhomes. This is where we currently are building. We're building 26 townhomes off of West 3rd Street in downtown Dayton. There was a building called the Gem City Ice Cream Building that was demolished a couple years ago. We wanted to pay homage to this building. So you can see our first building is a very, very similar replica to the 1940s, 1950s version of the Gem City Ice Cream Building. And you can kind of see every single townhome project that we've done is unique to the place that we're actually building. And Piqua is no different as well. Next slide.
Is that the last one?
Yeah, there's one more. And this is some interior photos of how we build. Just like Habitat was talking about, these guys before, our range is 1,300 to 1,500 square feet. And these are 3-story townhomes with attached 2-car garages, all attached garages. Next slide. So in 2021, we came to Piqua. We met up here and we decided that this may be the best place to build some townhomes here. So you can see this is 32 townhomes here, all different brick. You can go to the next one, it's a little more zoomed in. So this, we think that will fit very perfectly into the fabric of Piqua, different brick facades. We've never done brick, different brick styles, and we would like to try it out, and it's gonna look great.
Want to mention what intersection that is?
Oh yeah, Main and Main. I don't know if it's in your docket or not. Cross, if you want to talk about that. Anything.
No, I think we just pulled some inspiration for this elevation just from around town, so that's kind of where that's coming from, these early renderings right now.
Are we looking at the corner of South Main Street and Wood Street?
Yes.
Is that what we're looking at? Can't read the street sign, sorry.
Yeah, no, the bike trail and the river is actually, to your right there.
Yep. Maybe go to the last slide, the previous slide.
It's a little more zoomed out, yeah. There you go.
You can see the building on the other side of the street. It's activated
Right
there.
against the bridge.
Yes. And, the city's done a perfect job of setting the stage for something like this, market rate townhomes. And we're glad to be here and hope we can make a difference here. The last slide just has our model home there. And of this project, we've sold 11 homes so far of the 26. A couple empty nesters, about 5 or 6 first-time home buyers. They mentioned before the Welcome Home program. We're closing a home next week with the Welcome Home program that we were able to get for somebody, a first-time home buyer as well. So we are very, very focused on home ownership as well. So. And then you'll also see Crosby and I up here. We are on our sites daily. We're local guys. We like to see our sites every day. So that's part of what you get as well. So if there are any questions, we'd love to answer any.
My question is, where are we after your presentation, where were we headed?
In terms of?
In terms of building permits, those kinds of things. We've had a presentation on this plot of land once before, and I'm just curious to bring it up to speed if we can.
Yes, yeah, we're Crosby, if you want to speak about that, but we're moving towards that.
Yeah, we're working towards things. We did some soil borings recently on the site to kind of see, what's going on underneath and kind of preparing those surveys and engineering plans. So right now, I think that there's some different things that need to happen in the background, and that's kind of where we are right now. But we're working towards starting hopefully soon this year. Would be fantastic.
One part of that property was an old DP&L electric substation site. I would think we'd have some concerns for digging into the ground there a bit.
When those properties that were there before were demolished, all the environmental concerns were addressed at that time. Probably more so here would be soil condition, just in terms of the load-bearing capacity. So I'm sure there's a little bit of soil preparation work that would have to be done, which is pretty typical for a project of this nature.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, before you gentlemen sit down, you ask us as far as the status of where we are with this. If you will recall, at one of our previous meetings, there was a resolution before us that deals specifically with economic development, that I was more than happy to make the motion to adopt. However, we failed to get a second on that motion. Because we failed to get a second on that motion and pass that resolution, this current project is on hold and is pausing. So I thank you all for coming, for making this presentation again. As someone who is frequently in all of the communities where you currently have properties and have toured multiple of your sites, the ones in Springfield and 2 of the ones in downtown Dayton, you do an amazing product. And I want to personally thank you for recognizing what we see in our community, and you're willing to take a risk and invest your private capital in our community. So thank you. Thank you for coming again. And I hope that now, based off of your presentation, and that we will be able to move forward on this, because we truly do appreciate you choosing us and willing to put your capital here when you could have put it anywhere in the region. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chris, I'm assuming that since Mr. DeBras did a little homework, that we would have to bring back a resolution at some point to proceed.
That's correct. The purpose this evening was really to give Roby and Crosby a chance to introduce themselves, share with you from their point of view their interest in the community and the product that they would be developing, should the commission be willing and interested in entertaining the role that we need to play in helping to advance that, which was directly related to the previous item. So this was to try to start filling in some of the gaps that maybe needed to be addressed for you all to be well informed on what the project would mean and what it would be. If you're desirous, the next step would be for us to put together the mechanics of how that deal structure would work, so that we can bring that back to you at a future meeting, the next meeting, or perhaps the one after that.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we kind of flip-flopped the agenda. Jerry O'Brien is here to give a presentation covering the city expenses through the end of 2025.
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This is a report about the financial results as of 12/31/25, and this covers some of our major funds, and then our major enterprise funds, and a couple of funds that have been of particular interest to the Commission. So it's not all the funds that we have, but this is the quarterly report that I've been bringing to Commission. So up on the screen, you'll see the statement, and just want to let everyone know what we're looking at. So this was out, the December report is out on the finance website, on our city website in the finance section. So just to briefly describe the statement and what's in it, this is the revenues and expenditures for these funds for 25, and we have 2 previous years, 23 and 24, of actual results, and then for 25, the original budget and the final budget. So just a couple of things to note about these statements. You'll notice, if you look down at the bottom at the fund balance and the cash balance, these are not equal because these statements are compiled on an accrual basis, which is how we do our accounting here at the city, throughout the year. So the numbers contain the results of accrual numbers, so the cash balance doesn't equal the fund balance. Also, if someone were to look at the monthly reports that are posted online and compare it to these, the fund balance in this report doesn't equal the fund balance in that report because the monthly reports contain all the assets and liabilities and are a full presentation of the funds. So this was just intended to provide a picture of the revenues and expenditures compared to the budget to give the commission and everyone the opportunity to look at those numbers. So you can go ahead and start the PowerPoint now. Go to the first, yeah. So what I did, I'll go through quickly and just give an overview of each fund presented in the statements and talk about the revenues and expenditures and some reasons for the major changes in the numbers for the year. So the general fund here, and this is a comparison of actual results for 24 and 25. So we typically report, we had in the past reported, and we still do, there are funds that are combined with the general fund in our annual financial statement. We did in 24, at the end of 24, for that report, we pulled out the safety fund and presented it separately, but there are still funds combined with the general fund in our financial reports and in the monthly reports as well. However, with these statements compiled here, we're just looking at just the general fund by itself so that we can get a clear picture of the general fund. So the total revenues for the year were about $7.9 million and total expenditures were about $3.6 million. And the revenues in the general fund increased by about $384,000 from 24. And most of this increase was due to investment earnings. Income taxes increased about $30,000, which was about 1% of an increase. Expenditures increased about $875,000 from 24 to 25, and $584,000 or $83,000 of this was in the city building account and the general government accounts. And in the city building, some of the big items there were for the elevator repair and office furniture. And in the general government, one of the big items there were tax payments to the townships based on annexation agreements that we have with the townships where we reimburse them for a certain period of time for property tax due to the annexations, and also economic development costs. A transfer now the general fund, so the general fund supports several funds. It supports the safety fund, the Fort Piqua Plaza, and the Parks Fund, three of our bigger funds. It supports those by transfers out, which is typical of how a city would work with those funds. But in 2025, our transfers out to those funds, mostly to those funds. There were some smaller transfers out as well, but it was $4.7 million, which was an increase of about $1.5 million from 24. The ending fund balance in 25 was $13,226,500, which was a decrease of $444,298. The ending cash balance was $12,368,616, which was a decrease of about $70,900. This should be just of note here, while the general fund was stable in 25 and just showed a small decrease of that 71,000. As I said, that fund supports some of the other funds, and those funds, the cash balances in those funds have been decreasing, and so we want to keep that in mind. Part of the example of that is the, so we got COVID money, grant money, and ARPA money of about $4 million in 2020 and 2023, and that helped support the safety fund during that time. But since that time, the fund balance there has decreased by about a little over $1 million, or the cash balance, I mean. Go ahead to the next slide. Okay, so the Parks Fund, total revenues for the year were $724,000. Total expenditures are about $2.2 million. Now, it looks like a big difference, but then we've got transfers coming in, which I'll get to in a minute. So the revenue increased about $33,000 from 24 to 25. Expenditures increased from 24 about $775,000, primarily due to capital outlay, which included a pickleball court and vehicles and equipment. In late 24, there were also additional personnel added to the fund to help manage and operate the recreational programs and events. There was an increase in personnel cost for 25. Transfers increased about $748,000 to give a total of about $1.5 million, or $1.5 million for the year in transfers in from the general fund. The ending balance was $206,404, which was an increase of $84,162. Cash balance was $166,064, which was an increase of $673. The next fund there, go ahead to the safety fund. So here, this is the total safety fund diagram here, chart. But I'll talk a little bit about the fire department and the police department, which make up the safety fund. So in the fire department, the revenues for the year were $5.6 million, and total expenditures were $6.4 million. Revenue increased in 25 by about $496,000. The largest increase was in charges for services for the increase in contracts with other entities for fire and EMS services. Expenditures increased approximately $701,000 from 24. The largest increase was in personnel costs. There were also an increase of about $167,000 for vehicles and equipment. Transfers in from the general fund totaled about $870,000, which was actually for the year a decrease of about $39,000. There's a $300,000 transfer being made from the fire department over to our capital projects fund to set money aside to purchase the ladder truck in future years. So in the police fund, the total expenditures were about $4.2 million, and total expenditures were $6.3 million. The revenue in 25 increased about $221,000. Expenditures increased about $309,000 from 24. The largest increase was in personnel costs. There was also an increase of about $52,000 for vehicles and equipment. Transfers in from the general fund were about $1,895,000, which was an increase of about $784,000. Total revenues were $9.7 million, and total expenditures for the entire safety fund were $12.6 million. And then total transfers from the general fund were $2,766,000, which was an increase of about $745,000. So we only show the ending fund balance for the total fund, which includes both departments. So the fund balance ending was $2,382,550, which was a decrease of $421,516. The cash balance in the fund was $1,381,510, which was a decrease of $494,171. Okay, go to the next slide, please. So the Plaza Fund, total revenues, this is the Fort Piqua Plaza building there. Total revenues were $303,000, and total expenditures were about $726,000. Revenues decreased about $18,000 from '24, with an increase in rentals of about $9,000 from the banquet center. Expenditures increased about $123,000 from '24. So there was a $357,000, there were total of $357,000 in transfers in from the general, which was an increase of about $46,000. The ending balance was $57,812, which was a decrease of $127,843 from '25. And the cash balance was $90,869, which was a decrease of $103,963. Part of the problem we have there is we don't have any tenants on the third floor at this time, and that is affecting the revenue in that fund. So go ahead to the next one, please. And the street department and the street maintenance fund, this is the one that we use to do our street maintenance with. Total revenues in this fund were $4.2 million, and total expenditures were $4.5 million. The revenue in '25 increased about $242,000 from '24. The increase in revenue was mostly from investment income. Expenditures increased from '24 by about $1.7 million. There was a large increase in personnel costs due to moving employees from sanitation to streets. There was also an increase of about $225,000 in pavement preservation costs, and an increase in salt expenses by about $135,000. Capital outlay in that fund increased by $691,000 due to purchases of vehicles and equipment. The cash balance was $8,226,089, which was a decrease of $235,214. The fund balance at the end of '25 was $8,734,847. The next one, please. This is the street income tax levy fund. Revenues in this fund were $4 million for the year, and total expenditures were $3.2 million. There was about a $1.8 million increase in revenue from '24 to '25 due to an increase in capital grants and donations as well as investment income. There was a grant for the Great Miami River Trail Bridge, and developer donated infrastructure for the Arrowhead Drive project. There was a $1.7 million increase in expenditures from '24 to '25, and this was due to the reporting of the expenditures for the activity discussed above in the revenue section, those two projects. The fund balance at the end of '25 was $7,289,576, which was an increase of $763,002. The cash balance was $7,156,721, which was an increase of $940,180. Okay. So the power fund, total operating revenues in that fund was $32,732,000 for the year. Total operating expenses was $36,927,000. Total non-operating revenues were $3.4 million. There was an increase in operating revenues of about $1.5 million from '24, and an increase of about $3.4 million in non-operating revenue. The increase in operating revenue was due to a change in the power cost adjustment. The increase in non-operating revenues was due to the receipt of the grant for the asbestos remediation project. Expenses increased by about $5.4 million, and a lot of this increase was due to that, to an increase in purchase power and the asbestos remediation project. The fund balance at the end of '25 was $35,726,108, which was a $451,489 decrease from '24, and the cash balance was $7,495,375, which was a decrease of $609,696. In the water fund, the operating revenues were $7,256,000. Total operating expenses was $7,883,000. Total non-operating revenues was $1,851,000. Operating revenues increased about $42,000 from '24, while other revenue increased about $817,000. The increase in other revenue was mostly due to developer-donated infrastructure related to the Arrowhead Development Project and insurance reimbursement for the failed generator. Operating expenses increased about $1.3 million from '24 due to repairs to the generator, increase in other repairs and maintenance, and an increase in insurance liability. Fund balance at the end of '25 was $65,791,120, which was a decrease of $1,440,135. The cash balance was $8,736,152, which is a decrease of $1,548,935. Okay, on the wastewater fund, total revenues in that fund were $6,882,000. Total operating expenses were $6,860,000. Total non-operating revenue was $551,000. Total operating revenues increased about $269,000 in '25, and non-operating revenues increased about $552,000, mostly due to the donated capital from the Arrowhead Development Project. So the donated capital, just to explain what that means, is when a developer does infrastructure and they do a project like that, at the end of the project, they will donate the infrastructure to the city because the city is the one that's going to maintain it. So we have to record that on the books as revenue, and then we record it also as an asset. So it's recorded as a revenue and expenditure in the same amount, so it doesn't change fund balance, but then it's also reported in our capital assets. The fund balance at the end of 2025 was $66,233,516, which was a decrease of $1,360,858. And the cash balance was $12,435,015, which is an increase of $1,730,153. A significant part of this increase in the cash was due to the repayment of part of the note owed to the wastewater fund from the Lock 9 fund. And the last one here is the golf fund. Total operating revenues were $1,226,104. Total operating expenses was $1,073,956, and total non-operating revenues were $7,943. So operating revenues increased about $100,000 in '25. This was due to the efforts to generate increased revenue through more customer services. The expenses decreased slightly from '24 to '25 in the amount of about $41,000. There were no transfers in from the general fund in '24 or '25. It is expected no transfer will be needed in '26, and no transfers are budgeted from the general fund. The cash balance was $419,172, which was an increase of $169,039. So that's a quick rundown of the overall positions of those funds. So if anyone have any questions, I'll take them.
Just a statement, I think this information can be found on the city's website.
Yes, that is true. We put that out there.
And all of the information that you have presented will be part of the general audit the city goes through every year.
Yes, as I said, these are not all of our funds, just the major ones, but these numbers will go into our final report that is audited. These numbers, like I said, won't be the same numbers in the audit report, but all this information, all these amounts will be included in that audit.
If persons or citizens have questions or comments, how should they direct them?
They could give me a call or email me.
Okay.
Jerry?
Yes.
Would it be easier for you and everyone here to understand if we went to a cash basis instead of accrual? I know at one point the city was, then they switched.
Well, that was done many, many years ago, probably about 50 years ago, really, the way I understand it, looking at the history of the city. So most entities in Ohio, almost all government entities, operate on a cash basis throughout the year and then convert to accrual in their annual financial statement. That's what I did at the Auditor State's Office. I would go from entity to entity and compile their GAAP reports. However, Piqua for many years has operated on a GAAP basis throughout the year. It makes it a little more challenging to do the accounting, and especially for someone to understand who's not in that every day. So it would be a little easier to understand, I think, the budgeting and to explain to everyone about the budgeting. But there's some considerations that I have to take into account to be able to do that.
Okay, I was curious if that would save some confusion on the end of month reports for everyone so they could see where we sat at the end of every month on a much easier basis for everyone.
It would, just like I would explain at the beginning about the differences in the fund balances and the cash and so forth. It would make it easier to follow, I think, for a lot of people who are maybe more interested in the budgeting side of it than the GAAP accounting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jerry, along that line of Commissioner Walker, is it because of the accounting system we use that we are getting this report of last year in April?
Yes, that is true. So the report, at year end, if we run entities that run on a cash basis can produce a cash set of statements very quickly after year end. Would have those probably in a few weeks. With the GAAP reporting, it takes longer. There are accruals, there are journal entries to be done, and there's a lot of work goes into it. So it just takes a lot more time. To get a complete report together, the act for the annual comprehensive financial report, that is due, the basic statements are due to the state at the end of May, and the final act for is due at the end of June. And for us and for many entities, it takes most of that time to actually complete it and get it ready for submission.
And then, so the accrual system is the reason why what's the last monthly report we've been sent?
I submitted the February statements. In March, I would expect to be ready very soon on the monthly reports.
And is that because of the system that we use?
Yes.
And if we use the cash system, would we be able to generate those reports quicker?
The monthly reports, we would be, yes. I could produce a set of monthly statements like these budget to actual statements. That would be something that could be compiled much quicker. And then the financial report, the annual report, would be something done, in addition to that, but wouldn't affect, getting monthly reports to show what how the budget's doing.
All right. And then, Jerry, what's the ACFR?
That is the annual comprehensive financial report.
I was told, now I did not go look for myself, that on our website, if you click on the link to where it says our ACFR is that it goes to fiscal year 23.
That's been updated. I just updated that, got the 24 out there.
Okay. We are, so obviously, the fiscal year '25 one has not been completed yet.
That is correct. We'd expect to submit that to GFOA at the end of June.
Okay. And now, this question, my next question, I understand may be a bit outside of your purview, because it is a much larger question, but I'm going to give it a whirl. And unfortunately, we don't have a city manager or an acting city manager here to ask this question tonight. So sorry, Jerry, you're there, you're at the microphone, you're going to have to take it.
I'll try.
Who's responsible for our IT, our website, maintaining our website?
Michelle, whenever we want something put out there, we'll send it to Michelle.
But I understand Michelle is the one who is to compile things and then actually place them there. But Michelle isn't generating or receiving the ACFR. So what is the process as far as keeping our website updated? And my assumption here, before you answer this question, is that you as a department head are to send them to someone who manages this to then make sure that our website is updated with the most accurate information, and that we are not to rely on individual citizens and members of the public to flag for us every couple days when our website has out-of-date information on it. Is that
Yeah.
how the process is supposed to work?
Yeah, that was, I send the report to Michelle to put out there.
Right, and Michelle did what she did when she had the material to do it. Thank you, Michelle. My point here is that I'm getting a little tired of continually getting messages and emails from individuals pointing out things on our website that are 2, 3, 4, and 5 years old. Again, I don't have a city manager or an acting city manager sitting over there tonight for me to address that concern to. So, Chief Byron, I know this is not your responsibility yet. However, I believe a week from Friday, this will be under your purview. Can you please work with us to figure out a process and a manner in which we can make sure we are providing the most accurate and up-to-date information on our website?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Jerry, what would the process be to change to cash? What all would that entail? I just really think this accrual system is just way too cumbersome and too hard to get information out to people in a timely manner. It's mid-26 and we're waiting on the 25 into the year, so.
Okay, so I'll start out just by addressing what Commissioner DeBras said. So the 24 ACFR has not been that long since it was released by the state. So the process for, and the reason, and that still would take that length of time, or it was a little bit longer this year than usual. But what happens, that process is, once it's submitted to the state and to GFOA at the end of June, and last year we did get an extension to the end of July, just due to we were implementing a new system and so forth. And then the state had it for about 5 months in review. So the annual report does take a while, and it would seem like that is a lengthy time, but it usually is going to be anywhere from late fall to early winter when that report is done. But now moving on to your question about changing to cash, that would help in some regards. That would help with budgeting and make it a little easier for people to follow the budget. However, that would not help the ACFR, as far as that goes. That would still be on a gap basis, would still be the same process, would still take the same amount of time, because that is still done on an accrual basis, and we're required to report our financial report on accrual basis by the state and by accounting standards. So that is, we're kind of stuck with that. How cash reporting would help would be if we operated on a cash basis throughout the year, the monthly reporting would be a little quicker, and that is true. However, there is some, and I've looked at this since I got here, because like I said, I was used to almost everybody is a cash basis. So I've looked at this and would like to do that. However, there are some considerations that have to be made. It's the way one thing, we do a great job here of tracking and reporting our capital assets. So we're doing that throughout the year, and especially in the enterprise funds, those assets are actually reported in the funds as we go along. So throughout the year, those assets are in there, and we do a really great job of getting those assets implemented into the system when they should be. But there are a couple other considerations. The inventory, just the way that we have our accounting system set up, it would take, it could be done, and I know how to do it, but it would take a lot of work, and haven't had, the opportunity to completely make that transition yet. And then we have to consider how it would affect the enterprise funds as well. But I will keep looking at this, and we can certainly consider moving forward with this in the future.
Okay, you can report back to us on that. So I think that would help the citizens a lot. And I know I've run multiple companies and they're all cash basis. Accrual, I don't know that I could keep up with the company on accrual. I'm sure the city is the same way. I know the citizens are the same way as far as trying to figure out what's paid, what's not, all this kind of stuff. So,
What's obligated.
thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Other questions from commission? Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. Next, we're going to move to the consent agenda. I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the April 7th, 2026 regular city commission meeting. We're now going to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now we're moving on to old business. We have ordinance number 03-26, our third reading.
An amended ordinance to make appropriations for the city of Piqua, Ohio for the year 2026.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is the last reading for this ordinance. This will amend some appropriations and some of the funds. So there was a change from the second reading, and it was in section 3. There was a change the last time of $27,000. It was just a reclass from operating and maintenance accounts to the capital outlay account. This time it was that was increased to $225,000. But this was a reclass, since it really didn't change the amount of appropriations we're requesting, just that we changed the amount of the reclass, the capital outlay.
I have a public comment card in reference to this third reading from Kim Heisler. Kim's going to pass on that one. Are there additional questions or comments from commission? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to consider the third reading of this this ordinance. This is ordinance number 03-26.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance number O-3-26.
Support for the motion?
Second.
Motion and second that ordinance number 03-26 be approved. Let's see, let's have a roll call on that one.
Commissioner Simmons.
Aye.
Commissioner Walker.
Aye.
Mayor Vetter.
Aye.
Commissioner Wade.
Aye.
Commissioner DeBras.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to move on to ordinance number O-4-26, a second reading.
Updating Chapter 51 Sewers in the City of Piqua Charter and Ordinances.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. We're here for the second reading. This is based off, this is the sewer fund we're looking about here. This is based off of the work session we had 2 weeks ago, and then the first reading 2 weeks ago. If you've had any questions in the last 2 weeks, or any from the public you want to address, you want me to respond to, go ahead.
I have a public comment card from Kim Heisler.
Yeah, I just want to make this real quick since we're running long on time. I think like for this one and the next three, or the next two ordinances, ordinances. I wish you guys would take a really close look at this, because if this is rewritten, including the data center, we need to take a look and realize it's a hyperscale data center. This is not like any other business or industry. This is completely different. And once we make these changes, keep in mind, there's other land, property being looked at. So there's going to be others coming along, and they're going to get right in and slide right in, because now we're going to have new charter and ordinances, but we don't have the parameters in there for such a large scale type facility. The stuff that we have does not cover the things that it needs to cover, and it needs to have its own standalone. It needs to have a standalone thing for specifically a data center, or something amended, or a new rate, and other things considered. I think that's paramount. And one thing that we can look at is like state legislator. They don't even have guardrails on these data centers. So for us to move forward and make changes and say they are just like all the other business and industries we have is a terrible miscalculation. And you guys really need to address it. I know we got one more reading on this, but you guys really need to take a look at that. The regulations, they don't even have impact studies or anything like that. There's data centers out there that you guys can pull stuff from. There's data centers that are currently existing that you could probably go to those communities and ask them, if you had to do this again, what would you guys do? Well, you'd have all kind of impact studies, sound, traffic, environmental, all that kind of stuff. But I really think before changing this, you need to have a standalone category for that. And it's going to be 6 months before the state can even get any kind of return in figuring out what those guidelines are. So to pass it before the state even has guidelines, I think is a terrible mistake, unless you put in specific stuff for the data center. That's it.
Thank you. I have no other public comment cards. Other questions from commissioners?
Yeah, Kevin, would you like to address any of that?
Well, this ordinance in front of you right now is just to do with sewer ordinance. So any new company that would come to the city that would abide by the sewer rules for their waste sewage that comes to our wastewater treatment plant, we treat. This has nothing to do with environmental studies or noise pollution or light pollution. This is strictly sewers in this ordinance, sewer-related issues. Does that answer?
Yeah, don't we have a separate, didn't you bring before us last year a separate water sewer agreement for
the project? The water and sewer agreement that was passed last November spells out all the stuff that we are required to do and that the customer is required to do per that agreement.
Right. So essentially what she asked for.
Yeah, and water, in that water and sewer agreement, yes. And then there's also a development agreement that goes into more detail on some other issues, roadways and such.
All right, thank you.
Other questions from commissioners? Hearing none, this will stand as the second reading for ordinance number 0-04-26. Now we're going to consider ordinance number 0-05-26, a second reading.
Updating Chapter 53, Water, in the City of Piqua Charter and Ordinances.
Yes, Chapter 53 requires, not requires, it is in regards to water-related issues that was presented to you in the work session last week, or 2 weeks ago, and during the presentation 2 weeks ago. So you have any questions on the water-related ordinance?
I have a public comment card for you, Kim. Come on up.
Yeah, so again, real quick, it needs to be separate. We need to adapt a category specifically for data centers. For you to say that sewer has nothing to do with it, I think that's totally false. Even though there was an agreement specific, there needs to be something in there so when companies are coming in, they're not dictating what we are going to follow. We're going to dictate it for them. I think that would make the best use of that. So even though you say, you know, the project, there's places, I mean, there's other lands being looked at. So other things like data centers might come. I hope not, but if there is, we need to have stuff in place so they know what we want. There's no legal mechanism right now that limits the water usage, the efficiency standards, the cooling technology, the demand mitigation. There's no protection for the citizens. There's all kinds of like fire suppression stuff with water, evaporative loss and the chemical blowdown and stuff like that. That's just for water. But wastewater has its own stuff. And you're thinking it's completely different, it's taken care of, but it's not. We need to protect ourselves as a city and as citizens. So it's the same with electric. Just because we're a co-op when it gets to this next one doesn't mean that we're protected, because we're not.
Thank you. Questions from commissioners? Hearing none, this activity will suffice for the second reading of ordinance number O-05-26. Now we're going to move on to the fourth item of old business, which is ordinance number O-06-26.
Updating Chapter 52 in the City of Piqua Charter and Ordinances.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Similar to Kevin's introductions here, this ordinance deals with the rates that are charged to the electricity customers served by the City of Piqua Power System. This is the second reading. Nothing has changed in the underlying documents or assumptions, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
I have a public comment card from Kim Heisler. Kim waves. Are there questions from commissioners in reference to this second reading? Hearing none, this will suffice as the second reading for ordinance number O-06-26. That concludes our old business agenda. Now we're going to move to new business. Next, we will consider ordinance number O-2-26.
An ordinance acting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances for the City of Piqua.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is the annual update to the American Legal Publishing. From American Legal Publishing, they had finished their supplement. This covers state legislation through 6/25/25 and local legislation through 9/16/25.
I have no public comment cards for this ordinance. Are there questions from commissioners? Hearing none, this will stand as the first reading of ordinance number O-2-26. Next, we will consider resolution number R-53-26.
A resolution authorizing the City of Piqua to commit to becoming an age-friendly community and to participate in the AARP network of age-friendly states and communities.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. The resolution before you is a resolution that is kind of the start of a process that we are looking to go through at the City of Piqua. This process comes to us from the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission. The City of Piqua is looking to become a designated age-friendly community. We would like to do that through an AARP network of age-friendly states. So it is a multi-year initiative where there is emphasis given on allowing people to age in place and be active as an aging population. So there is funding available. It's between $5,000 and $10,000 to get a community needs assessment completed.
So we would like to ask to be able to apply for that grant, which is supported by the Dayton Foundation. And so that assessment would cover community surveys, focus groups, analysis to understand the city of Piqua's strengths, find gaps, and then look to try to find or create an action plan that would allow us to try to implement some of these changes that are noted within that action plan. So as part of this, the entire organization will be working whatever that action plan brings forward. But right now, what we're asking this evening is for the commission to authorize the city to apply for that grant, which would then fund the action plan. We would work with the MVRPC, the Dayton Foundation, and their representatives to allow us to move forward with that. It also would position the city in the future to get additional funding for some of these activities in hopes of us being able to have a pilot project or something that would be funded through funds available through the similar organizations. So the timeline before you that is being presented, there is a May 1st deadline. So our staff would apply by May 1st. We then, by June 4th, we would know if we were awarded funding. And then for the next year, from July 2026 to July 2027, we would complete our needs assessment. We would have community engagement, and we would do, again, that analysis. And then in July, we would get our final report. And so then after we have our final report, there would be a number of items that we would then be following up with, bringing back to you for your consideration and how we can meet the demands or the needs that we have of our aging population. So with that, there is a resolution before you to authorize the city of Piqua to, one, commit to being an age-friendly community, and then two, commit to participate in the program and request the grant for the action plan. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
I have a comment card from Kim Heisler.
This is really, really interesting because the citizens have come to you guys for 2 years now with community engagement ideas, like putting stuff back on public access TV to get them engaged back into the community and finding out what's happening, to put it back on YouTube. And you're not, and it's not happened yet you guys want to get a grant and get everything put together so that we can do the same thing. I don't get it. And grant, just because there's grants, grants are not free. We're paying for that anyway. So the action plan is to actually look at the citizens also, because we got ideas to engage the older community, and you just have to take it. You don't have to wait on someone else to come in, form a group, and do that. It also says with the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? What is the name of that organization? So that's it.
Thank you. Questions from commissioners?
Who will be doing the study?
So again, it goes through MVRPC. They have a liaison who is paid for by the Dayton Foundation, who is the one that will lead that process. In terms of stakeholders, it will be all of the interested parties. What they've done in other communities, local communities, they've gone to senior citizen centers, they've gone to areas where there are clusters of older adults, and then they've also requested information or had public meetings where everyone's decision on whether they're old or not is something that I think you as a person get to determine. I know there's many people who are young at heart. So again, I think our goal with this is to have stakeholders be whoever they want to be, but I do believe traditionally they have had groups of elderly at different locations. So in our case, again, I think our interest is to have people involved. So we will certainly work hard to make sure that happens.
Other questions from commissioners?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you're older.
Well, the community engagement part is what I'm more interested in, and how you're going to get that done just through this session of
developing what you need to know, how's the community going to get involved then, I guess, I'm not sure.
I mean, again, with all of these projects, the goal is to have as much engagement as we can. We do generally, when we have planning efforts like this, we do an outreach. We can't force people to be involved, obviously, but we do have an interest in trying to get to those populations to make sure the populations that are impacted, are having their voice heard. The intention of the plan is to hear what people are saying. So there's no reason for us to go and ask for this grant, which is funded through a private corporation, by the way. So it isn't anybody else's money. It will be given to the city. It is a great opportunity for us to be able to utilize that grant money to be able to hopefully help a segment in our community. Our goal would be to get anyone that wants to be involved that believes they're part of that segment. And so, again, the organization MVRPC, the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, and their specific section of their organization that works on these different components would be the lead in that, and we can make sure that we address any concerns that come out about our interest in making sure people are part of that process. But again, our goal is to have anyone that wants to be part of that process be part of it. I mean, that's the intention of the entire plan.
We need to be clear about the fact that the intention of the program is to look at a variety of things: transportation, sidewalks, all kinds of activities that make Piqua an age-friendly community. It's not just about IT. It's not just about sound production systems, but that's one of several things that can be included in that.
Absolutely. And there are a number of communities that have done different projects. So they've done different pilot projects where either that's having groups of a set thing that they do, like they do walking in the morning, or just different programming elements. A lot of different ideas. Communities have done different things. So I don't know the answer to what our community will come up with. I think that's the goal, is to figure it out. But other communities have come up with a lot of other great ideas to have our senior population be more active.
I have a late comment card from Soleil Larkin.
Got to go after her. Okay.
So with some of these grants, they come with stipulations, and you have to behave in a certain way and do certain things. And I just want to make sure that we ask that question. What is the stipulation for this grant? How it has to be used? Gathering studies is one thing, but if you have to actually designate, like when Dayton became a welcoming America, they committed to spend the citizens' money without the citizens ever being consulted. And Welcoming American is an organization that is very much not in favor of smart cities and things like that. And this organization appears to be hooked up to the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, which imposed a lot of standards throughout government against the population to enforce no choice on the COVID jab. And so if it's going to be the WHO, I'm really not in favor of their kind of studies. And when you're bringing Meta, Facebook, into Piqua, which is the biometric data, so they're going to sell it to everyone that that's to make you healthier. There's also always a flip side to every coin, and people want to call it a conspiracy theory, which tells me that you just don't understand human nature. There's no conspiracy means you're a nut job. And that was determined by the CIA back in 1957. So conspiracy, if you look it up in a dictionary, it actually means a collusive effort to do wrong. So when you look at human nature, and people do things that are right and according to moral standards, and they also do things that are wrong. People steal, people murder, people do all kinds of things that aren't right. So your biometric data, which used to be private under HIPAA, with this data center, it is, and with Obama's laws that were put in place, your health data no longer is private. It's shared digitally. It's scattered all around through all of these apps that are on the internet. And so when we look at aging, Up in Canada, they're already euthanizing people that are getting older. There is some of that that is also occurring. I watched, most people don't understand when you go into hospice, the moment they give you morphine, it's well known by all the nurses, you guys can all double check this fact. I had to watch my father, so I'm very clear what morphine does. In 6 weeks, it's to systematically shut down all the organs. How do they sell it to the patient? They sell it as pain relief. Okay? Let's be really clear that morphine does more than pain relief. It systematically shuts down the organs in the body so that that person will die in 6 months. Or 6 weeks. I got to watch my father do exactly that. So please, when you're looking at these programs to bring in for an aging community, make sure they're actually going to do something that you want done. There are dark sides to every positive coin, and we rely on you guys to be looking at both sides of the coin. Don't just look at what you think it is positively, because there's always a sales pitch, right? We've all gotten the car that was perfect as a used car from the salesman. We drive it home, and the mechanic says, "Oh my God, you shouldn't have bought this thing." So let's not be silly. Let's not be immature. Let's actually play the game the way it needs to be played, which is to protect the people from problematic things just because we're not willing to look at the dark side of it. These hyperscale data centers are designed to harm. They've already been implemented in various areas, and there's lots of problems with the sludge from the wastewater going into the rivers. The elderly aren't going to want to put 1 foot or toe in that water after it comes out. So let's be really careful what we're implementing. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another resolution?
Is this one for?
Michelle, do we have another comment card in terms of this resolution?
It's for the end, but I believe Commissioner Simmons had a comment. It's not for this one.
We don't. This is not about, okay. Now, well, I'll open it up for commissioners' comments. Paul?
Yes, I have quite a few issues with this. The folks that are giving the grant out is one of them. They are a PAC. They are a PAC, Political Action Committee. And, you know, they can couch it as they've got members and they got benefits, and I get their stuff back every month because, hey, I'm in the age group. And would I like to have discounts and all that? Yeah, but I'm not really crazy about who I'd have to thank. Rather than getting a grant to do a study, I'd like to see us look for grants to help us become more ADA compliant, because a lot of our senior citizens would probably think that they're in an age-friendly community if we had all of the resources that they need to be able to go out and park close to where they need to get out, to be able to get up and down on the sidewalks if they're on one of those little rolling scooter chairs, that sort of thing. So I'm sorry, this does not get my support.
Other questions or comments from commissioners?
Yeah, Kyle, what is AARP's involvement in this?
So AARP has a program called the Network of Age-Friendly States and Communities. One of the requirements that you have as a community to take part or to get the grant from the Dayton Foundation is to be in age-friendly state or communities or designated as such. That is the limit of it, right? So again, the goal of the program is the Dayton Foundation and MVRPC created this to give a fund amount of money to organizations to do a plan. There is no secondary effort behind that. We are given the funds to invest as we feel, you know, whatever it'll take to get that plan done. There is no AARP involvement in that. It will be a local MVRPC person, and it will be our team, whoever that is determined at the city. And again, that will be the public, that will be what we want to make of it. There's nothing beyond that. If there's concerns about whether, you know, I can't answer who the Del Mar Healthcare Fund is at the Dayton Foundation, it's the group that is paying for it. MVRPC is a group that we are a member of. We, as well as many other organizations, most communities in the Dayton area are members of that. And I think upwards of 20 have gone through this process. So it is very similar in other jurisdictions, and they've used it for different efforts. But again, the goal of this is to look at all of those things, and I'm sure ADA will be a component of that if we find that there are gaps there. I'm sure we will. We can certainly make that part of the conversation as well.
So the actual dollars that we're applying for, the grant funding, comes from the Dayton Foundation, but the actual grant process or the administrative work is handled by MVRPC.
Correct.
And MVRPC is a governmental entity.
Correct. Quasi-governmental, but it is an entity that everyone pays into to be a member of. It is all of our elected bodies, so every city that is a member has an elected official who is a representative on that board, which Mayor Vetter is for us. And so it is a quasi-judicial board that sits and has, again, this particular portion of MVRPC is called the Institute for Livable and Equitable Communities. That's the component of it. And so again, they're focused on age-friendly.
And the Dayton Foundation is a community foundation that is a philanthropic
correct
organization.
That is correct.
Okay, that's all I had.
Other questions? Hearing none, I will call for a motion to approve resolution number R-53-26.
I move to approve R-53-26.
Support for the motion?
I'll second.
We have a second. This is a resolution, so we can vote on that. So we have a motion and a second to approve resolution R-53-26.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask for a roll call.
Okay, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Nay.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Mayor Vetter?
Aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBras?
Aye.
The motion is approved. Next, we will move to resolution number R-54-26.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with McCullough, Felger, Fight, and Gutman Company, LPA.
Good evening, Commissioners. The purpose of this contract would be to provide prosecution services for the city of Piqua. It has a flat rate associated with that, and then an hourly fee if there's any other legal services being provided.
Thank you. I have a comment card from Kim Heisler.
Just real quick, prosecution services, didn't we do that before? And this is an addition to, like originally when Frank was here, it was part-time. Then we got Jessica as a full-time. Now we're hiring an not outside, but outside service to actually do prosecution. It just seems like this is an addition to, so I'm wondering why in the world we're having to spend so much money, and didn't know that last year. Good.
Thank you. I also have a comment card from Nicholas. I'm sorry, I pronounce your last name wrong sometimes, so I...
Yeah, I would like second what Kim had to say, because I thought we had gone through this sometime before. Is there any way you can elaborate on this a little bit?
This is your public comment.
Oh,
time,
yeah,
so
I'm sorry.
Make your comment.
Yeah. I just wanted some more information, elaboration on the resolution. Is there any way we could do that, or?
I'm going to let you end your comment, and then we'll
Oh,
ask
okay.
for commissioners if they want to follow up on your question.
Yeah, I'm kind of unfamiliar with, since you've taken mayorship, so I appreciate it, Kathy, for the extension on my time. Oh, Kim, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I usually get your name wrong, too.
So does he. So I thank you for my extension, the extension of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. I also have a comment card from Steve Yenny in reference to R 54-26. Steve?
Yes, good evening. I'd like you to table this ordinance, and the reason being, there's no contract included, and I think we've been down this road before. Before this administration, contracts were always included with every item, and we don't get to see the contract, and especially since Frank is involved with that law firm, and Frank was the prior city attorney under contract. So please table the ordinance, bring it back next week, next meeting, and let us see the contract. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the final comment card I have for this resolution. Are there questions from commissioners?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I would move that we table this until we can have a contract with it.
Is there support for that motion?
I would second, but not for that reason, but I just
Yeah.
think
We
we
have
don't
a
have a
motion
city
on the
manager
floor
on
to
present.
table on R-54-26. This is a resolution. We want a roll call, or you want to, let's do a roll call vote on that one?
Commissioner Simmons.
Aye.
Commissioner Walker.
Aye.
Mayor Vetter.
No.
Commissioner Wade.
Aye.
Commissioner DeBras.
Aye.
The resolution has been tabled. Next, we will consider resolution number R-55-26.
A resolution to approve a replat with dedication for parcel ID N44-072750.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. I would like to start with, I apologize, the actual parcel ID is N44250056. So that is correct everywhere, but it did not get reflected on the agenda. So again, the resolution, all of that, we just want to be clear in your motion, if you are to approve it this evening, that it is the resolution relating to parcel ID N44250056. With that said, there are three cases that I'm going to go through here really quickly. All three of these cases were heard by our Planning Commission last Tuesday. And this case, PC 0426, is a plat with dedication. I'm hopeful that I will be able to click, maybe. You press that little button again?
There we
No, if
go.
you press the little button in the top right again, remember?
Well, we tried that, and that really didn't work very well at all.
That's fine. Yeah? Maybe? Okay. Well, if you, I'll just go through and then we can pass along. I love technology. So the case that is before you is the replat lot split for the component pieces of land for the Wawa development. So the current property is within the CX corridor mixed use. And if you will recall, this has come before the City Commission twice. The first time in June of 2025 for a sale and lease agreement for this property. And then the second time was previous this year. It did not come before City Commission. It went before Planning Commission to authorize the use, which is a convenience gas station for the property, which was approved in February of 26. I go through the comprehensive plan for all of our areas. This area is listed as corridor. You can keep going. And so again, this is an L-shaped piece of land. It's 0.544 acres. What the applicant is requesting, this piece of land will be separated from the existing property that is owned by the city and will be combined in the future with the parcel to the east and to the west, which are the adjacent parcels. All three of those parcels will be combined. and they will create a single lot, which is where the actual Wawa station will go. So the existing request this evening is to split the component piece from the water tower lot. It is not asking this evening to combine the three. That will have to come back before the commission in the future. The applicant is requesting that split so they can finalize their purchase for all three properties before they can combine them. So this is the second to last step. The last step will be going in front of the Planning Commission and the City Commission again to combine all those lots, remove the parcel lines in between, and put the easements in place. With that said, again, this case did go in front of the Planning Commission last Tuesday and was recommended for approval in a 3-0 vote. And again, I want to be clear, this is a split for parcel ID N44250056. With that, if there are any questions that you have of me, I'd be happy to address them. I don't believe the applicant has made it to 8:55 this evening, unfortunately.
Yeah. I have no comment, no public comment card on this resolution. Therefore, we'll ask questions from commission.
Yeah, all right, Kyle, you got to help me. A resolution to approve a replat with dedication to parcel ID number. Is that number correct in the resolution?
The resolution, so the correct number, what is reflected right now in the resolution is incorrect. That number that is reflected in the resolution is N44072750. That is incorrect. What is correct is N44250056.
25056. And when the Planning Commission heard this, was the number?
Yes, it was correct. Unfortunately, just our agenda reflected it incorrectly, which made the resolution reflect that incorrectly.
Got it. So the Planning Commission approved it with the proper number.
That is correct. You will see that as well in their recommendation.
All right. Now, our next resolution, skipping ahead, has that same N44075970. Is that correct?
I don't know which resolution you're looking at.
The next one, R5626. Are all of these together?
That is not the same number, no. Those are correct. The other two resolutions are correct.
All right. So, before any other comments, Mr. Mayor, I would move that we amend resolution number R5526 to strike N44-072750 and insert N44-250056.
Bingo.
Is that accurate?
That is correct, thank you.
You got it correct.
Second.
Okay.
Second. Yep.
So we're into commissioners' comments. We have a motion on the floor to amend the resolution. Is there support for that motion?
Second.
From Mr. Simmons? Okay. And is this something you want to roll call, or we just take a vote?
I would be more than happy to just do it by voice.
Very good. And we have a resolution on the, a motion on the floor to approve the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That resolution is approved. Now we're on to R-56-26.
Wait, hold.
No, we have to.
We just approved amending it to the correct title.
You're right. I'm sorry. I skipped over. I'm getting tired. So now we have amended the resolution. Now we'll go back and ask for approval of the resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we approve the resolution as amended.
Very good.
Second.
Moved and seconded that resolution number 26 be approved. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That resolution is approved. Now we're on to resolution number R-56-26.
A resolution to approve a replat with dedication for parcel IDs N44-075970 and N44-078245.
Thank you. The case before you, Resolution 5626, is very similar. As I noted, all three of these are very similar. They are plats. So this case, though, is a consolidation. Just like last time, the property owner is requesting this to have their ability to do something that they cannot do with the two lots separately. This condition, or this particular case, if you want to go forward, is for Miami Valley Steel. Miami Valley Steel currently operates on about a 20-acre parcel, and on that 20-acre parcel, they have their facility. They are looking to make a substantial investment to almost double the size of their existing facility in the city of Piqua, and as part of that investment, they need the parcel to the south, which they own. It is another 20 acres available to them, so for them to be able to build a larger building to the south of their existing building, they are requesting to consolidate two lots. So that is parcel N44075950 and N44078245. The property owner owns both lots. They are both zoned IH industrial heavy. And so again, the Planning Commission did meet in their regular session last Tuesday and did recommend approval of the combination to create a 40.039 acre parcel for this case in a 3-0 vote. If there are any questions, yeah, I'm not sure where that is, but if there are any, it's okay.
I have no
it's
public
okay.
comment card for this
If there are any questions on that one, I'd be happy to address them again. As we get through all three of these are all very similar, where there's property owner that owns the land. They are asking to combine it in this case. It is a process that we go through for a plat or a replat. And so again, Planning Commission reviewed this at their meeting and recommended 3-0 approval to you.
Questions from commission? Hearing none, we'll call for a motion for approval.
Mr. Mayor, I would approve that we adopt resolution number R-56-26.
Support for the motion?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second that resolution number R-56-26 be approved. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That resolution is approved. Next, we'll move to resolution number R-57-26.
A resolution to approve a replat with dedication for parcel IDs N44-101770, N44-101834, and N44-101846.
All right, so this is a very similar request that is before you. It is a replat. So there are three properties that are owned by the same owner. The applicant is asking for a 245.35 acre parcel to be added to a 359.48 acre parcel with an additional 3.0 acre parcel. The difference in this one is they are then asking to split out two separate parcels from that combination, one of which is located on the northeast side and one of which is located on the southwest side of the property. So this case, this property is the property on Washington Road being consolidated for the construction of a data center. The property is owned by the same operator, J5 LLC, and the applicant is requesting this evening to combine the lots and then again split out two lots. So they will be creating a 591.33 acre parcel and then splitting out a 0.987 acre parcel on the northeast side, which will be used in the future for a water pump station. And then on the southwest side of the site, there is a 0.386 acre parcel that will be utilized for power needs for the site in the future. With that, again, the Planning Commission met in their regular session, went through their process, and is recommending the approval of the request for a replat with dedication for parcel IDs N44 101770, N44 101834, and N44 101846 with a 3-0 vote. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to address them. I believe the applicant made it all the way until 9 o'clock and can certainly speak to the engineering request this evening.
Okay, and I have a public comment card from, come on, sir. Okay. Is the applicant here?
I don't know if you have anything to add or not.
Mr. Mayor, is that for this one, the public comment?
We were talking about 57.
Yes.
Yeah.
As the applicant.
We're asking for public comment.
This is the applicant, though, Mayor.
That
is the applicant.
Hold for one more minute.
Yeah.
Who?
Okay. I have a comment card from Sierra Larkin. Solari. Hard to read.
I just have a couple quick questions because the Planning Commission used to have 5 people on it, and I know that you guys are trying to find more people, but with the city pretty much letting the Planning Commission know that it's going to go before you guys, and so their opinion doesn't really matter as much as it used to. I'm wondering how that impacts. We're trying to do all these replats, and we're saying, oh, the Planning Commission, but it doesn't even have 5 people, so everything that goes before them has to be agreed upon by all 3 of them. And if it's overridden, it still comes before you guys, is my understanding. I could be incorrect. So I'm asking, how does that work now when we're used to having 5 members? We now only have 3, and there isn't as much robust discussion there now either, since these rules from here have been implemented there.
Thank you. Now we'll go to the City Commission. Questions?
Just before we finally end your wait, the Planning Commission does consist of 5 members. However, 2 of the members at this particular meeting were absent, but it is currently full with 5 active voting members. 2 of them just missed the meeting. And I don't have any questions, and other than to say thank you for sticking this out.
Other questions from commissioners?
You're going to want a roll call.
Okay, we've asked for a roll call on this.
Would you, if Mr. Mayor, if you may? You're good? Yeah. Okay.
Very good. So we're now going to ask for a motion to approve resolution number R-57-26. Support for the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt resolution number R-57-26.
Support for the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and we're going to ask for a roll call.
Commissioner Simmons.
Nay.
Commissioner Walker.
Aye.
Mayor Vedder.
Aye.
Commissioner Wade.
Nay.
Commissioner DeBras.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Next, we'll consider resolution number R-58-26.
A resolution authorizing an increase to the purchase order to Encompass Engineers Architects, Inc. for economic development, engineering, and construction oversight services.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This resolution is in front of you today because of an error that I made back in November. Let me provide a little bit of history on this PO. On November 3rd of 2025, the Commission increased the PO from up to a not-to-exceed amount of $233,652 for construction, engineering, and design work in support of the power systems infrastructure improvements to serve the construction power load for the data center. On January 20th, this commission increased that PO to $415,000. That number should have been what I am requesting here tonight of $642,772. I erroneously wrote the resolution to increase the PO to up to $415,000 when I needed to increase the PO by $415,000. This is to correct that error. I will point out that all of these construction oversight costs will be reimbursed by the customer in due time. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay. I have a public comment card from Kim Heisler. No. You may. I have a comment card from Jonathan Wessel.
Thank you. So, as RJ mentioned, if you recall, the original agreement with this vendor was for $73,450. Number, but I believe, was chosen specifically because it was under the threshold that the city manager can approve without your approval. There has only been one public document that was a scope that was signed by the vendor and RJ. He signed that back in June of 2025. So I'm curious if at the time that was signed in June of 2025, did we really think that the work was going to cost $73,000? Because we're now being asked for $642,000. So 8 times the amount that was originally on that scope. So yes, in November, the same day that you guys voted for the data center, it went up to $233,000. In January, it went up to $415,000, now $642,000. And so really, I would just ask the 5 of you, before you vote on this, do you understand what work is being completed for $642,000? And I would just say that, if anybody came to me, if Paul came to me and asked me for $20, I'd probably give him $20. If he came to me again and asked me for $20, I might give him $20. But at some point, if he comes back a third time and says, hey, John, can I borrow another $20? What do you need 20 more bucks for, right? So, and then if we're being reimbursed for this, when is that account being set up? When we've had other accounts set up, TIF accounts, different things, you guys had to take action to set those accounts up. We're months into this. Really, the city's years into this. So when are the accounts being set up? When is this being reimbursed? And then, I would ask the 5 of you, if you're going to vote on this, what are you voting to spend our $642,000 on? Thank you.
Thank you. I have a public comment card from Steve Yenning.
Good evening. As you may remember, Commissioner DeBras and Commissioner Vader, I spoke out very strongly at the data center meeting about this, our 116-25. And at that point, it was, like he said, it was being increased from $73,000 to $233,000. I wasn't able to attend the meeting in January. And so I'm here tonight, and again, I have the same kind of questions Jonathan has. But also, the day after the meeting, I filed a public records request about our 116-25 because I didn't get my questions answered. And 4 weeks later, right before Thanksgiving, they finally responded to my request and said, no records found. No records found. So, what's this about? It should be under a QBS process, and as far as qualifying the vendor, and why didn't I get at least some intelligible response? The only thing I've heard is we followed the law, we followed the charter. I don't think so. I don't think the city did comply with state law. Also, Jerry has said that escrow account had to be set up before there could be any payments. Okay, now this vendor's been getting paid all along, right? Must have been, because they wouldn't keep working. So how's that work? I talked to Jerry today about this, and he didn't have a lot of time, but I would like an explanation of why, how they're getting paid. If they're, and Jerry did kind of qualify. He said, well, I was only talking about construction at the site. Well, that's not what he said at the meetings. He said there would be no payments for work on the project until the escrow accounts were set up. Now, he did tell me today that the escrow accounts have been set up, so that's news. I guess the other thing is, if you look at the staff report, it doesn't even refer to anything now, at least in the first iteration on November 3rd, they said contract. Well, I had the 2 pages. It wasn't a contract. It was like a scope of work. It was no contract, and that's what I made a big deal about. $233,000 show me a contract. And then Mr. Oberdorfer and Mr. Monier said, yeah, it doesn't work like that. Something to that effect. You can watch the meeting. It's on YouTube. It's on RF Media Group's channel. About 4 hours into the meeting, 4 hours and 15 minutes into the meeting, I just don't understand why we don't have documentation again, what's happening here. Even if the project is paying for it, you guys should know what's happening. And when I look at the funding source on the staff report, that's a normal funding source. I'm pretty sure it is. Look at your staff report and look at the funding sources listed. That's not I don't see it, that's a specific funding source. I guess you know what I'm getting at. Seems like the power department's just paying for it like they would any other vendor. And I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And I have a final comment sheet from Solaire. Lars?
It's not worth my time or energy. So on this expenditure of money, he's asking for over $500,000. Whew, that's a big sum. Sure like to have that for my retirement account. No contracts, just so you guys who are new to the commission, the Charter Review Committee was tasked to review the charter. And they eliminated, up until 2023, contracts were required to come to this commission for everything. In 2023, the Charter Review Committee said, we don't need those. The People's Commission don't need to see that. We're going to trust those guys. That's not a good idea. When you trust people with the money that isn't their money, it's ours. Out here in the public, it's our money. It's not theirs. They act like it's theirs. It's not. When you hear people start talking about grant money as free money, oh, this came from a private corporation. Well, that came from individuals who funded that, whether they were part of that group or they were individuals. A lot of the federal grant money, they talk about it as free money. Again, unless you go to the source of it, these guys are big on Jobs Ohio. Do you guys know where that money comes from? That comes from our liquor sales tax dollars, sales tax. It's now being funneled into this Frank LaRose Jobs Ohio nonprofit. I don't know what it is. It's kind of a weird foundation. It's kind of a weird company. So our tax dollars are going to Jobs Ohio to come to us. That's not free money. That's our tax dollars. But these guys over here always talk about grants like it's free money. Donald Trump said, we're going to make a big push for data centers. He said, we're going to make a big push for AI. So all the money that's flowing is flowing from the federal government, which is our tariff money and our tax dollars being funneled, which I like to call that money laundering because that's what it is. Our tax dollars in this legitimate structure, supposedly, is going out to these mega companies that they then give to us. Think about that. But they like to call it grants. They like to call it money that's funding us, that's coming for free. It's not free. Look at all the taxes that you pay for your hunting license, your car tags, all that stuff back in the 1920s wasn't taxed. That has all grown slowly over time to take every penny out of your wallet. America now is one of the most taxed countries in the world. Over 50% of your earned dollars go to pay some kind of tax, some kind of fee to your government. This is true. This is not false. These facts are documented. So when you have somebody in government that says, you know what, I made a mistake, if you're actually looking at a real contract with a real work scope, with real budget dollars, with real money and things that need to be done, you don't make those kind of mistakes. You've got the paperwork right in front of you. To get a records request that says there are no documents, just like when I did a records request and got that there are no notary journals. You have 3 notaries and none of them document it, and it opens up the city. They can't prove they didn't commit fraud when they notarized you guys into office. And they're not even allowed to do the notary activity the day before, and they do. They look at your license the day before they swear you in. That's not supposed to happen that way. They're supposed to look at it as they're doing the activity. Every notary will tell you, no, I'm writing this down. I'm writing this down. I'm writing this down. Well, not here, not in Piqua, not with these guys. Think about that, because how you do anything is how you do everything. Please, don't pass this.
Thank you.
Was I the next one?
I don't, do I have your comment?
Yes, to do last.
I was the first one.
Yeah,
Anyway, so.
There it is, sorry.
I want to piggyback on this. Multiple times I've heard in this chamber that we will not sign any contract until it's in our escrow, and then we'll pay for it, for the data center, which, Project Klondike, I don't know why you guys don't call it that, for some reason. When you say the project, I don't understand, you just say Project Klondike or the data center. But multiple times I've heard that. We will not sign any contract and do any work until the money is in there. Well, if the escrow account was just recently done, and this contract was signed way back in June of last year with this company, with Encompass, then there's some kind of mismatch there. Something is not right, because they should be paying for it, and it should be there. So with that, I would strongly recommend you guys request all this stuff be transparent as possible, so we can see where that money sits, and we can see it coming and going, so that we can track it. Please, whatever you do, try to make this as transparent as possible, because it's lots and lots of money. Secondly, I would just like to request that you guys strongly consider allowing for non-agenda public comments. There was an extra long executive session that you guys did that took our time away. I will pull mine away from that so that these guys can talk. And this nice young lady has sat here for a very long time, waiting her time to speak also. So I just ask you guys if you would extend and leave this meeting open for non-agenda public comment.
Thank you. Those are. Yeah. Okay, so we are asking for commissioners' comments in reference to R-58-26.
What all does this contract cover?
Yeah, so-
Have they been funded? I'm just kind of trying to play catch-up here a little bit.
Sure. So Encompass Engineering is designing the 69 kV transmission line and substation build and some other auxiliary projects in relation to the service of the construction power for the data center. So what's in front of you is their fee for engineering services, construction oversight services, design services, and things like that. So in terms of it being funded, in any project, design work needs to happen long before a contract is awarded to actually build that infrastructure, right? So the the escrow account, I think some of the conversations regarding the escrow account revolve around the escrow account must be funded before commission is able to award a contract for that infrastructure to be built. So the electric infrastructure will eventually, we will bid that out publicly, find the best and lowest bidder, eventually come to commission for approval to award the contracts of that bidder, and the money to pay those contractors would need to be in escrow before we do that. The design services and engineering and bidding documents and things like that need to be worked on and completed before that ever happens. And that's what this is. That's what Encompass is doing for the power system. I'll make a mention that in terms of the dollar amount, the infrastructure that the power system will be building in service of the construction power is about $5.2 million. The $642,000 is right around 12% of that, which is a very normal amount for design and engineering services in an infrastructure project. But did that answer your question about the escrow?
Kind of. Jerry, when do you think we would get paid back for this?
Pardon?
When do you think we would get our money back on this $600,000 investment up front?
On the engineering cost?
Yes, please.
So we just got the escrow account set up last week, got that finalized. So they will be, in the very near future, they're going to be putting in around $8 million initially, which will be to reimburse us for engineering costs and into the future as well. So it'll cover the costs we've incurred so far, and there'll be money there going so far into the future. And then if more is needed for the project, then we'd discuss that with them at that time. So when I was referring to the money has to be in the escrow account, I was referring to the contracts to do the construction of the infrastructure. So the first project, or the first contract, was bidded out, and they are waiting on that. And they've had to wait while we get the finish getting the escrow account set up, because we won't sign that until the money is in there. So now that we've got that set up, we're expecting the money for that contract to be put in there very soon. Then we can move forward with that contract. So that's what I was referring to about the contracts and the money being there up front. So the engineering costs that began on back there and the design costs over the whole project, yeah, that money, they agreed to reimburse us for that. And that money will be put in the escrow and be paid out shortly on that as well.
All right, shortly, 2 weeks, a month, 6 weeks? Kind of an idea of timeline?
I'm thinking probably within a month or so, or less. I don't think it's going to take them very long to get the money into the escrow.
And there's no reason that and there's some reason that they couldn't just wait and get paid out of that rather than us say, hey, here's a blank check.
We're not giving them a blank check.
And then hope we get reimbursed later.
Well, the reimbursements are all negotiated into the contract, so it's all in the contract and in the escrow agreement, or the development agreement, that we were to be reimbursed for those costs.
Have we paid any of the $642,772 yet?
Yes. For Encompass, yes, we have incurred cost.
That's not what I asked.
Well,
I said, have we paid it?
Yes.
Incurring the costs and actually paying are two
Yeah,
different
I'm sorry, yes. Yes, we paid. I'd have to look it up to see how much, but.
And it is my understanding that now the escrow account has been created. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I'm assuming, I understand by using that word, what I'm admitting here, is that now that that account is created, that money will be deposited into that account, correct?
That is correct.
When will they deposit the money in the account?
I don't have an exact date, but should be within the next few weeks.
Quiet, please.
I understand that it is part of the development agreement. I understand that it is a part of the process that we have agreed to. However, the lack of being able to give us any type of idea of when those funds are going to be deposited and when we are going to have the ability to seek reimbursement for now over, as someone mentioned, well over $500,000, is starting to be a little bit concerning. We were told that we were going to be reimbursed for everything. Now you're telling me that we've already spent a portion of this $642,000, that we've already paid that out. Again, I'm operating under an assumption here that it was in the development agreement that if they decided to go away tomorrow, that legally they would still be required to reimburse us that money. Can you answer that question?
Yes.
Yes, you can answer it, or
Yes.
the answer is yes.
That was in the agreement, so they would be required to reimburse us.
Okay.
And this money, like I said, they have been waiting on us and them working through with their lawyers to get the escrow account set up. As I said, it was set up last week. The money would be put in there in the very near future. I can check tomorrow and see where that is at and get you an answer to see if they know the exact date. But we are expecting that money to come in very shortly into the account.
Let Encompass get paid out of that.
Anybody else want to chime in here?
Probably move to table this issue until we get some answers.
We're talking about resolution number R-58-26. We have a motion to table. Is there support for that motion?
Second.
I have a second on that motion. Let's call for a roll call.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Mayor Vetter?
No.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBras?
Aye.
The motion is tabled. Next, we will move to commissioners' comments. Are there folks wishing to make comments tonight?
Yep.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
How many public public comment cards do we have for?
3, 4, 5. I think I got 5.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I would move that we suspend for tonight Rule 14, which says any non-agenda public comment shall not begin after 9 p.m. and shall not continue after 9 p.m. I also further move that we grant them until 10 to finish up.
So 5 minutes apiece, basically.
Again, the court order says 7 minutes, and you're recommending 5 minutes.
Well, okay, let's let them all speak.
I'm not-
35
I'm just-
minutes, sure.
I'm just making sure that we're clear
Yeah.
on what we're talking about.
I'll go with 35 minutes.
Yeah. Is there support for that motion?
I second it.
Okay. Been moved and seconded that we suspend Rule 14 of our rules of conduct to allow for public comment tonight. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Anybody need a break before we go to?
I do.
Yeah. We'll take a short break.
Do we have to adjourn?
Oh, yeah.
I think we have to
Before
adjourn.
we take our break, I would make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. That would be good.
Aye. Second.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
No,